Good afternoon, and welcome to our using Code.org's Computer Science Fundamentals at Home live stream webinar. We're glad to have you this afternoon. We're going to be spending some time with you, just kind of going through and talking a little bit about using Code.org's Computer Science Fundamentals at home. And this can be used in elementary, but you can also use this in middle school as well. And so today, joining with me is my colleagues, we're all Code.org Computer Science Fundamentals facilitators, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Julia?
My name is Julia Mate. I am the K-12 STEM program planner for the School District of Palm Beach County and a Code.org facilitator. And I'm very lucky to wear many hats and work with many schools and different people.
Hi, I'm Sue Baillie. I'm the technology teacher at Point Siena STEM Elementary in Boynton. And I've been part of the Code.org project since it started, and I've been teaching coding in some form for over 30 years.
And my name is John Long. I'm with the Department of Educational Technology. And just a quick reminder that this session is being recorded and will be posted on our website and on our YouTube channel. So we're going to get started now. So let's talk a little bit about using Code.org's Computer Science Fundamentals at home. So these are our objectives for today. Today we're going to talk to you about Code.org's fundamentals. We're going to showcase some digital citizenship ideas because I think during this time of remote learning, it's really important to focus on digital citizenship. And so we're going to share you some lessons that you can use with your students as unplugged activities or as plugged activities. We're going to show you what an unplugged activity is. What does that look like? We're going to show you what plugged activities, which are the online puzzles. And then we're going to talk to you a little bit about how you set up your dashboard for your classes and stuff like that. You can set it up now, you can wait till the fall, but just as some stuff that you can do. And then we'll talk to you a little bit about Code.org's code break a little bit at the end. If you tweet, please use any of those hashtags or Twitter accounts, or tweet handles, and we'll share with them at the end as well. Okay, so what is Computer Science Fundamentals? Well, Computer Science, CS stands for Computer Science Fundamentals. You can create, it's all free. Code.org is a nonprofit organization. You can sign in with your Google account. All you have to do is go to code.org and create your own account with your Google account, your district account. And then you'll go in and you can see all the different activities. And so we're going to break those down into different layers and stuff like that. And so I'm going to switch it over to Julia, who is going to focus on digital citizenship. And she'll talk about some of the ideas of using that. Julia?
Thank you, John. Digital citizenship refers to the responsible use of technology. And in our society today, that's become obviously very important with students learning remotely and digitally. And so everyone should know how to conduct themselves properly or responsibly in our virtual world. Code.org, in collaboration with Common Sense Media, developed some lessons for students to learn more about digital citizenship, the importance, and to really dig a little bit deeper. Today, we're going to highlight 3 lessons. The first lesson is going places safely. And this is really talking about information that students need to keep private. Your name, maybe your age, address, telephone number, and the reasons why. So it's important for students to have that understanding because they're often in situations, whether it's gaming, or online, where they might be asked some of those questions, and it's important for them to understand what should and may not be best to share online. We also have Scream Out the Mean, which cyberbullying is something that has become an issue in our current society, and this lesson really helps children to recognize it's essential to tell someone if they see that happening online, if it's happening to them, if something's happening that makes them feel angry or sad or scared or uncomfortable, and how to move forward with that. And then we also have private and personal information, again, as students grow a little older, and really need to understand what is appropriate or in their best interest to post and maybe not post, and to give them opportunities to experience and dig deeper into these topics. Each of these lessons dig into those topics, but they also provide extended learning opportunities. They're aligned to standards. There are cross-curricular opportunities where students can do journal writing and really have multiple ways to understand or to process these ideas. And just in general, as the digital, like here we are in this digital age, it's rising. It's really the need for everyone to be able to develop logical thinking and problem-solving skills has become really essential, especially in solving new problems that we have in our community and world. But this is all part of a computer science curriculum, whether they're online activities or offline activities, breaking down complex problems, finding solutions, which can be applied to multiple areas of life, not just school. And today, our lives revolve around computers. And so it's really, this is an opportunity for your students to have the, and children to have the opportunity to come together as a community, but also be safe in that environment. Because right now, computers are shaping our ecosystem. It's making it easier to sell items, purchase items, and create fascinating new jobs. With that also said, local businesses, international companies are regularly emphasizing the need for employees to have these skills. So I just think that, you know, obviously digital citizenship is going to be fundamental for all students, as well as computer science exposure.
Thanks, Julia. So I'm going to actually start showing you a little bit about what the unplugged and versus plugged activities are in code.org. So just to give you an overview, code.org has actually several different curriculums for elementary. This is the latest one, but there is a couple of other courses that you can do. There's the courses 1 through 4, which is the old curriculum that you can still access for free. This is the newer curriculum, and they update the curriculum every year during the summer. So courses A through F are available. Course A and B are going to be for pre-reader or your express course. So those are going to require less vocabulary, very engaging, where they learn how to drag and drop and basic elements of getting started with coding. The express courses in course C through F get a little more complex. So they're kind of a tiered approach. They're going to be learning how to do different types of blocks and coding, and I'll show you those examples when we get to the plugged activities. If we were in our regular classrooms, an unplugged activity would be no technology required. It's going to be all manipulatives. So they're going to use different things, how to create basic skills that are preparing them for the online puzzles. So looking at some of the lesson plans for the unplugged activities called happy maps and stuff like that. And I'm actually going to digitize it a little bit and show you how to create an algorithm which leads to creating a program. And then a plugged activity is an online puzzle. So happy maps is the unplugged activity, and the corresponding, plugged activity is sequencing with Scrat. And Scrat is a character from, I forgot the movie now. Anyway, so Scrat's a character from a movie that they're going to use to code, where Scrat has to go and find the acorn and hide it and stuff like that. Getting Loopy is going to talk about learning about loops. So I'm going to give you a little bit from course A and a little bit from course B, so you can get just a good taste of it. And those are really simple courses to start with. And you can have your students kind of go through those, start off with, but break them up into small pieces so they can get what the coding piece is and get the vocabulary. And then Loops with the Harvester is exactly the same thing. It's going to be the plugged activity. And I'm going to change that a little bit, and I'm going to show you the unplugged activity with Ray and BB-8, because I like BB-8. And who doesn't like BB-8? So anyway, we're going to show you some of those examples. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over gears with you right now. And let me go to my computer screen here. Oops, sorry. So this is when you log into your code.org, you're going to get your dashboard. Now, I actually have some courses already started, but when you start off, you're not going to have those courses. So you would want to go to the course catalog to get started. Then you can scroll down and you can start with the elementary. There is a middle school and a high school course for computer science discoveries from middle school and a computer science principles for high school, which are a little more complex and require about a week's worth of training and some follow-up. But the elementary course is really easy and you can get started almost right off the bat. Down here below are some of the Hour of Code activities. You may have heard of Hour of Code. It's usually a full week in December. This year it's around, I believe it's December 7th of 2020, and you can do all kinds of activities. Dance Party was a real popular one the past 2 years where they're coding little dances and just moving to the dance, and the kids love it. And that's a great thing to do during this time just to kind of give yourself some physical breaks and stuff like that and learn to code. So I'm going to click on that elementary school level. There's a great overview video of getting started. We're not going to show you that right now, but if I go down here, here are my courses, A through B, but down here is where I actually can view the courses. I can view the courses as a student. I can actually see the lesson plans, and there are full lesson plans for you to use with your students, and they are really good, and they're aligned to standards like the language arts standards. They're a lot, the math standards, the computer science standards, the technology standards for ISTE. I'm just going to show you what the course looks like. So here's what course A is, and I'm actually viewing it as a teacher. I can actually view it as a student too. This is the unplugged, or the digital citizenship lesson that Julia just mentioned, that talks about going places safely. And this is important for our kids right now. And then you can see down here, here are the other lessons about learning to drag and drop. And then Happy Maps. This is the one I'm going to show you, but I'm going to switch over and I'm going to show you the lesson plan. So I already have the lesson plan up and running for us. It's lesson 3, course A 3, and this is actually a navigational map as well. One thing I'm really excited about is that all of the lessons are in Google Docs that you can actually make a copy of with our PDF. You can actually do a PDF or an unplugged activity. Here's a work, the Happy Maps cards. But this is the whole process. It talks to you about how to do the steps, how to do the activities, how to do the wrap-up, and the extended learning. And then this is the standards alignment that I was showing you, talking to you about a little bit a while ago, about how you can use language, speaking and learning, using words and phrases. But the idea is in Happy Maps, this is the video that you can share with the students. You can actually link this to your Google Classroom. All of this is like, you don't have to log in to actually use this. You can actually use this and have this video in your Google Classroom for them to actually go and check it out first. And then here is the worksheet. Here's the cards. They give you different examples. Like here's like a worksheet and stuff like that, where they can just drag the arrows over and stuff like that. And we were like, this is a worksheet. I can't do worksheets right now. Well, I've got an answer for that, and I'm going to share with you in just a second. So if I go back to my lesson plan here, I'm going to go back to the Happy Map game pieces here. These are the game pieces, all the arrows and all the different fruits and stuff like that. This is Flurb, our character. We're going to use Flurb in a few minutes. But I want to show you the grid, which is actually right here. So if I go down here to the very bottom, this is the grid that they can actually create their own. So we demoed an app in Google called Jamboard a few weeks ago on our live stream series. And I actually created a Happy Maps grid right here in Jamboard. And I'm going to actually share this on our website, which is edtechtraining.palmbeachschools.org. And look for the code.org under live stream resources. And we'll share this so you can make a copy of this and your students can actually create Happy Maps. So if I were to move Flurb over into, let's say I put Flurb over here, And I'm going to have Flurb go get the apple. And I can resize this. And I would put a copy of this in your Google Classroom. You can share this out so the kids can actually collaborate together on this. And then they can actually figure out how to actually do the activities. So these arrows I put over here, they can actually just come like this. And you can actually rotate them right in Jamboard. So I can put this arrow here. I can put this arrow over here, and then I can rotate it right here. And then I'll just put another one where I'm going to have Flurb just grabbing the apple. Boom. That's my program. So the vocabulary for this is algorithm, which is a list of steps to finish a task. Debugging is finding and fixing problems in an algorithm, and a program. So in the Jamboard, I've written the steps here for Flurb to capture the apple, to eat the apple. So that's one example of an unplugged activity. Let's flip the coin and see what an unplugged lesson looks like. So this is our sequencing with Scrat to, oh, it's Ice Age. Now that I see Scrat, I realize it's the movie Ice Age. So to get Scrat to the acorn, we need to snap this to this. Excuse me. I click OK. And I'm going to put it back so you can actually see it. Let me just kind of view this as a student. I'll hide this. So I'm just going to grab this, and it's got to click. And then I'm going to and you got to hear that he did that first thing. So that's the first puzzle. So I wrote my first line of code. So let's go over here. And I've already done this too, but all I'm doing is 2 arrows over here. Let me skip to one so you can see what it looks like without me solving it. Oh, that one's solved too. There we go. Let me just undo these. All right, so this one's a little bit different. I've got to go east, and south. I wanted to show you that here are the instructions, and the instructions will actually be read to them. But if I want to see step by step, or if I want to see the solution, I can click here, and it helps them with a solution. And they can work together too. They can collaborate these together. All right. So let's do one more, and then we'll show what happens if you make a mistake. So instead of going west, going this way, I'm going to tell them to go east and then go south. Let's see what happens. Uh-oh. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, let's try this one again. So let's try this, and I'm like, oh, I don't want him to go east. I want him to go west. There we go. Let's try that. All right. Very easy. All right. If I need to go back, I can always click here, and that takes me back to the whole sequence, and I can start over. So getting loopy is another unplugged activity. It's in course B, and it's lesson 6. And loops is where they do something to repeat. So like, let's say I had them going east. If I was doing the Scrat thing, I would go east 5 steps. Well, a loop lets you do that and just tell it to repeat 5 times. And so it's a good process for repeating. I love getting loopy because it has a really cool worksheet. I'm not going to go through the whole lesson like I did before, but if I click on this, this is getting loopy. And so you find your favorite song. It could be any song you want, and you could do this iteration. And it's basically where you clap 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Head behind, waist. Head behind, waist. 1, 2, 3. Left hand, right. Up, left, up, right. Clap 3 times. Now, I have to repeat that 3 times before I get to the belly laugh. When you do it to music, it's fun, and it gets some kids moving. And you can do this now. Get them moving in their classrooms and doing stuff. Get them to think of different ways to make these different things, to do the loops. Maybe you want to loop it twice. Maybe you want to loop it 3 times. They have to think about it to do the loops. And that's a good sequence process to think about. So in code.org, the loops is using this bracket. So like instead of like moving it forward, let's see, I'm moving it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I would have to do this. There we go, 4, 5. But, and this is where the workspace with 6 space and 6 blocks. But what if I were to like, just get rid of these and get rid of this, get rid of this. What if I just do the loop like this and I do this piece in here? And now let's try that. All right, yay. I love BB-8, it's really cool. So anyway, it goes on, but I'm running out of time, so I just wanted to show you the curriculum of the unplugged and the plugged activities. And now I'm actually gonna switch over to Sue, who's gonna show you the dashboard for how to set, now that you've seen the curriculum, how you can set this up with your students. Sue, take it away.
So the easiest thing that you can do is code.org now supports Google Classroom. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Oops. And when you sign in, over here on the code.org page, it says sign in and continue with Google, and your students will do the same thing. And you just want to make sure that they are signed in to Chrome, which if you're doing virtual learning, everybody's probably gotten pretty good at that. I know we've had some problems at our school with kids who are signed into the portal, but a sibling was signed into Chrome. So make sure the student is signed into Chrome, and then they're just going to continue with Google. And you're going to do the same thing as a teacher. And there it recognizes me because I'm signed in. So I'm going to click on my name. And the beauty of this is that the students don't need any kind of password. It uses their email password. And it's warning me that it's going to get access to my Google Classrooms, which is fine. I'm going to allow that. So here I am on my dashboard, and I already have a lot of classes because I've been using this for a while. But if it's the first time that you're doing this, you won't have any classes. You'll have no classroom sections. So you're going to want to create a section. And there are 4 different options. And up until recently, I used the picture logins with my younger students and the Word logins. But now you can do it with Google Classroom. It's really a lot easier. And I'm also going to show you the personal logins, which isn't really personal. It's still using the student's email address. But I'm going to start with Google Classroom. And there it is. It sees all of the Google Classrooms that I have. If you're a classroom teacher, this is really simple. If you are a fine arts teacher or a teacher that works with multiple classes, you're probably going to want to do the personal. For virtual learning, I created one Google Classroom for each of my grade levels, but that means that I have more than 80 students. And I may not want to assign all of those students or even all of those classes the same thing. So first I'm going to show you what will look like for just one class. And this is a class, by the way, that I'm co-teaching in Google Classroom. And you cannot co-teach in code.org. So I'll come back to that in just a minute. So I'm going to choose this section, and it's going to load. And now I'm going to leave this, Mrs. Dennis's afternoon class. This is a 3rd grade class. And John mentioned earlier in his presentation that there were middle and high school courses. This lists every single thing that code.org offers. And some of it is the middle school curriculum and some of it is the high school. So here are the courses A, B, C, D, E, and F that John mentioned earlier that correlate to the grade levels. And then all of these hour of code activities, you can assign those to your students as well. The Express course and the Pre-Reader Express are the puzzles without the unplugged activities. And the Express course is, I want to say, like 2nd through 5th grade, and this is the K1, it's the pre-reader puzzles. So since this is a 3rd grade class, I'm going to assign them course D, and then you're going to scroll down just a little bit. The lesson extras are challenges that they provide at the end. So and the students have the option, they can do the challenge or not do the challenge. So you can leave that on or you can turn it off. And I'm going to leave it on. If we were face-to-face and in school, I might want to use the pair programming. Since we're virtually learning, I'm going to say no on that. And what that does is that lets 2 students sign in at the same time so that they would be working together and both getting credit for the same puzzle. So, and I guess you could do that virtually. I'm going to save my settings, and there is Mrs. Dennis's class. And when I click on it, all of the students should be there because it pulled all the data in from Google Classroom. And there they all are. And when a student signs in, it's going to automatically, on their dashboard, go to my teacher dashboard, their dashboard will automatically default to whatever assignment you have given them. I think I can show you this here. It would actually, when the student signs in, it actually looks like this. So when the student signs in, it'll take them to directly, this is actually the Express course, but it will show you, it'll show the student the assignment you've given them. If they go to the dashboard and they have participated in other activities or you have given them different assignments, everything that they've ever done will be on their dashboard. Maybe they went into a course on their own, which, by the way, the students have access to everything just like we do. If they go to the course catalog, they can get to everything. It doesn't have to be assigned by you. The only thing is if you don't assign it, then you can't really monitor their progress. You can only monitor progress, which I'll come back to in a minute, on the assignments that you have given them. But they can get to everything. Just like John was showing you as teachers earlier, they can do the same thing. They can go to all the hour of code. They could go here to the elementary, and they could find their way into any of the courses that they want. So moving back to the teacher dashboard, and I'm back to myself now, a class where students have completed some of the activities, if you click on it, it shows you, and I just assigned this recently. They were given something else, but you can see now this student has done a whole bunch of the activities. And this student has done 2, and these students haven't done any of it yet. So this is how you can kind of monitor their progress. The other thing that it shows you down here toward the bottom, if they have a ring around it, it means they've started but haven't finished, and possibly it let them move on, but they might have had too many blocks in their puzzles. They maybe didn't do it in the most efficient way. So I can see right here that this student completed all of these puzzles and she did all of them correctly with no problem. And this is where she left off. So if students choose on their own to go to other activities, you won't be able to monitor that. Now, Mrs. Perry's class has been assigned a variety of things. So I can go, there's a dance party. Oh, did we do this? Yes, we did. this student has done the dance party. But if they do it on their own, it's not going to show up for you to monitor. They can get to whatever they want, but you can only monitor the things that have been assigned to them. The other thing that I mentioned earlier, going back to Mrs. Dennis's class, I am a co-teacher with Mrs. Dennis in Google Classroom. The problem would come if Mrs. Dennis decided that she wanted to assign code.org to these same students. What would happen is it would take this away from me and it would put it on her dashboard. So they don't really support co-teaching in code.org. Same thing here. This is a class that I'm a co-teacher with. And actually, we tried this with this class. Mrs. Perry and I, she assigned the students using her Google Classroom, and I signed in and her class had disappeared from my sections. So just be aware of that. If you're co-teaching with someone, you can't both use their roster of students from Google Classroom. The other way that I said that you could do this when you create a section is the personal logins. And now you're going to give your class a name. And again, assign a grade level. Of course, this part is exactly the same way. And I'm going to, same thing here. If you want lesson extras, if you want to enable pair program, that part is all exactly the same. So the only thing that's different here is you're going to name your course and you're going to save it. And this time you'll notice two things are different. This time it's generated a code. The one that I did for Google Classroom, it says right here, the login is Google Classroom. The students don't need a code. It also says I now need to add students. So what you would do is you would share this code with the students. They would still log in with Google Classroom. And what would happen then is when they get to code.org, once they've signed in, they would go to the very bottom. Let me get back to the dashboard. On the dashboard page at the bottom, it says section. And so, or join a section down here. And so the student would type in that code and they would click on join section and it would add it to their dashboard. So that might be useful if, as I mentioned before, maybe you're a fine arts teacher, maybe you are an ESE teacher or a reading coach, you work with multiple students, or even a teacher that you don't want your entire class to be in exactly the same thing at the same time. Maybe you have different levels of students within your class. That would be a way you could create different sections for different groups of students in your class. So that's kind of a quick overview of the dashboard.
Thanks, Sue. So one more thing I want to add to you before we kind of wrap things up for today is that code.org, when we went to this remote learning environment, came up with a really cool idea of having a code break, because we all need breaks every day to kind of get away from this monotony of this new environment and just kind of like stretch our brains. And so they have every Wednesday at 1:00 p.m. Eastern, that's 10 o'clock Pacific, they have a little code break, and they bring in some really cool people. They brought in Bill Gates, they brought in some other people, and they talk about using code and how that affects them. And they give them just a little break a little bit from everything and a challenge to do during that time. So you might want to check that out or put that on your calendar for your class so they can check those out. So that's it, Code Break, which is every Wednesday at 1:00 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to wrap things up, and I just want to give my colleagues a chance to just kind of wrap things up a little bit with any last thoughts or comments. Sue, why don't we start with you first, and then Julia, you go after her, and then I'll wrap things up.
Well, I just wanted to say that you can reach me unfortunately, I didn't type my full name on here, but John will put that slide back up with our names on it. My email is sue.bailey@palmbeachschools.org. So if there's anything that I can help you with in setting up your classroom or how you could implement this with your students, please send me an email and I'll be happy to help you in any way that I can.
I think I would just say something similar, that we're all here to help and support, and happy for you to reach out and ask for help if you need it. Thank you.
So we really want to thank Julia and Sue for being here with us today. Thank you, ladies, for sharing your expertise and part of being part of CS facilitators. And we've worked really hard together. And I'd just like for everyone out there just to try code.org and just give it a shot. You know, give your students a chance to actually try coding, because the world is a different place now, as we well know, and coding is going to be a big key. And so even in elementary school, they can learn some fundamentals, and we can still align those to our curriculum standards, whether it's reading, math, science, social studies. We can really pull stuff together and really create different types of STEM careers. And that's just a really thing to try, and just try it and see. Even if you don't try it this year, learn about it, and then maybe next year when you go back to school, you'll be able to try it then. So we want to thank you, and keep coming back to our website and our YouTube channel for more trainings. We've got some cool stuff coming up, and I really appreciate you being here. Thank you.